Hi, this is Rob from Lincoln Electronics, inviting you to catch the excitement of football and HDTV. We have low prices, service after the sale, and 7 delivery are available. This month's specials: 32-inch TV for $4.99, 42-inch TV for $7.99, and a 50-inch TV for $9.99. Lincoln Electronics is your place to buy HDTV. Lincoln Electronics, 1358 Lincoln Way East, Chambersburg, or check us out online at lincolnelectronics.com.
Thanks for joining us on Public Opinion TV. I'm Maggie Davis. Here's your story of the day.
The MMPW Fire Company in Mercersburg bought the property next door for parking and a possible expansion. The vacant house, however, is linked to one of the first colonial uprisings against the British. Preservationists want to save it.
The intent of purchasing the property was for possible expansion projects, either parking or if we ever decide to build a new firehouse right on this current structure we have now. It would just allow us room to grow. There's a lot of amenities we don't have in this firehouse that we should have. We don't have we don't have a bunkering facility. We don't have enough office space, enough storage space. When volunteer fire departments were really originally organized, they were almost more of a civic organization than a business. And today, it's, the fire department's a business. I mean, it needs to operate like a business. And there's certain amenities that we need to have that we don't have currently.
Well, the William Squire Smith House was probably the first structure built in this area. William Smith was the brother-in-law to James Smith, who was the founder and organizer of the Black Boys, and he led what we call the Smith Rebellion, or the Black Boy Rebellion of 1765, which was a 9-month uprising against British rule and the colonial or provincial authorities, because they felt they weren't being responsible enough for their protection on the frontier. The British traders, who had the backing of the government, were giving war supplies, hatchets, tomahawks, gunpowder, to the Indians. What started all this was an 83 pack-horse caravan in March of 1765 was intercepted by James Smith and the Black Boys. They discovered war goods, gunpowder and knives in the caravan, and they destroyed them. The British garrison at Fort Loudon thought that was an outrage, and they went to see if they could capture the people responsible for that. They ended up capturing a number of prisoners and 8 rifles and imprisoned them in Fort Loudon. Eventually, Smith and 300 of his Black Boys provide a siege of Fort Loudon, where they fire randomly all through the night until Fort Loudon surrendered the prisoners. This siege was really the first significant uprising prior to the Revolution, and which is why we think it's all very significant. Now, because we think the house was central to the uprising, that is, it was the place where they all met. It was the house of Justice Smith. He was center to this. James Smith and the Black Boys frequently met there and did their planning. And because it's so central to this, we think the house should be preserved.
We would buy a historic house, we bought a piece of property. I mean, over the years, we've looked at several different options of properties in the community that would maybe be conducive for a firehouse, and there's not a lot of properties in town that are conducive, and it's easier to stay where you're at and expand than to go with a whole new entire structure or to do an entire move.
I'm Jim Hook for Public Opinion News.